Tonight we're problem solving what key are those chords in and how can I make them fit together. These chords, 3 chords, right? So I'm just arpeggiating them just to sort of play them in a fun way. But we got C minor, we got A diminished, and then we've got D minor. So C minor, the pitches for C minor, C, E flat, G. Pitches for A diminished, A, C, E flat. We'll already see that there's 2 common notes between C minor and A diminished. And the notes in D minor are D, F, A. So there's only one diatonic key, major key, that these chords, all those notes are from. Really because the way that these are flat keys, as you can tell, we're using flat notes, right? So the order of the flats is B, E, A. Okay, so we've got E flat, which means that we by default have a B flat. But you notice the D minor chord and the A diminished both have an A note, so we don't have the A flat note in usage of any of this. So it just sort of pigeonholes us into the 2 flat key signature. So this is B flat major, and you know, as you can hear what I just played, sorry, it doesn't sound that happy. It's not that nice, you know. It's more minor. Right now, the relative minor of B flat major is G minor. So we could, you know, think more, it sounds more minor, so it's closer to G minor, and I would agree, just sort of on that premise. But we also have some substitute kind of things, right? And if you notice, I actually finished with a little B flat major chord. Right, so the B flat major, even though it works, even though it's technically the tonic, without the proper setup, the chords don't sound that well together. They sound a little bit arbitrary, right? The first 2 aren't bad at all because they actually share 2 notes, so they sound really good together. And then going into the D minor ends up being the substitute. If I just went with replacing the D minor with a B flat major, I'd have a much happier sound, right? So I'll just shorter version, right? That just cadences, right? Because the reason why, I guess we'll sort of talk a little bit about tonality here, right? So tonality has something called the leading tone. Leading tone is the 7th scale degree in a major key. So in my B flat major scale, B flat is 1, C is 2, D is 3, E flat is 4, F is 5, G is 6, A is 7. So A is my 7th note. So if I play that B flat scale, and let's say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and that's where the expression T might as well be do. That's a sort of a music theory expression, right? Because in our mind's ear, we could hear this no. We could hear that place where there is resolve. So that's the whole point behind being in a key, and tonality in itself is to have one note have the most bias. These 3 chords in that order aren't enough to be tonal, even though they're from the key of B flat major or G natural minor. It's not enough to have that sense of resolve when we play those notes because we haven't set it up. Now, if we do some kind of predominant, which is really sort of anything that goes before the 5 chord, and then we do specifically like a 5 chord to a 1 chord, then we'll have a very strong bias in music. So we're going to have, and I'll do sort of B flat major, and I'll do a G minor example. Okay, so this is going to give us what's called an authentic cadence, one of the strongest devices you can use in tonal music, right? So even if I use that progression, right, short version, right? Okay. Now this D minor, watch how I set this up. Playing the F and the A, and that then goes into, we actually have this Ti, do, know the A going to the B flat, right? And I played in the D minor, I played the F and the A, but I kind of stopped playing the D note. And that made it so that the 5 chord of B flat, which is the F chord, the notes of the F chord, F, A, C. So I'm playing what's the bare minimum requirement for that. It's a incomplete F major, F and A. So you can hear. And already there. But I think the bigger issue is, even though that, again, that technically worked, all that minor and diminished stuff that preceded that. So we got minor chord, diminished chord, which is like more dissonant than a minor chord, then another minor chord. We don't have any major chords setting it up. So if we were to either add some chords or replace some chords, or even change the order a little bit, that could be another thing, right? So let's say we take C minor, and instead of A diminished, let's go to D minor, but the D minor we're actually going to replace with a B flat major. Now we'll use that A diminished. And now you hear the B flat. Cadence is so much nicer, right? Now, okay, so I did it sort of a bit aggressive before. Let's do a minor version, right? So now, if I look at those chords in G minor, C minor is the 4 chord, A diminished is the 2 chord, and D minor would be what's called the minor 5, right? So this is going to give me Aeolian mode. It's not enough to actually give the leading tone to G. For that, we'd have to turn D minor into D major. So let's do both of those examples, okay? So let me just first do the original. And then cadence in G minor. And see, it's sort of a rough landing, you know? But if I go, yeah, I mean, let's take the C minor. That'll be fine. See, actually, let's start with the A diminished. This is like the 2-5-1 idea. Right, and then I can take the D major. And then the G minor. Like that, which is kind of a substitute of the, well, it would be the D minor, right? But you can see the setup there. It's like, right, because I have the Ti do, La Ti do Re Ti La La Si Fa Mi Re Do Ti. So we have the usage of harmonic minor then for that. So or I should say, when you're figuring out chords, what you want to ask is, yes, what scale is used, if any, right? What scale is used over all these chords? That's great, because then that can give you a scale that you use when you improvise over it to stay really on it and really with those chords. Those chords would find themselves very well in that order in something like jazz fusion, or even in 7th or extension version in any sort of jazz, or progressive music or anything. But in order to expect the key, we need to set it up properly. So, you know, even that B flat, if we go to, let's take that D minor. Now let's add another chord. Let's add that E flat, and then the F, and then the B flat, right? So it's like gave myself the 1, 5, or the 4, and the 5, and the 1, right? If I'm in G minor, let's use the D major for harmonic minor. Now let's say I use that E flat major. There we go. And then let's use the F sharp diminished. And there it is. G minor. Right, so very easy to set up, but we have to sort of know the conventions of tonality to always make it work and always make it feel like, we set it up well, and now we get the fruits of our labor. We get the bias of one note sounding the most important. So if you want my help designing that kind of stuff in your playing, and you feel like you would like to be able to have command of music theory and the knowledge of the fingerboard in the same way, then please feel free to send me a message.